so excited to introduce to you today Karen Webster. She is an amazing light, and I met her last year at the Inner Peace Retreat in New York, and it was quite by, um, it was definitely divinely inspired. She came after doing her own Awaken and Arise radio show with with Katrina, the Curious Spirit. And she came into this space and we connected. And when you listen to our conversation, you'll also feel this and hear how easy it is to connect with and work with Karen Webster, the attraction mindset strategist. So tune in. And now for tonight's show.
Okay.
All right. So, Karen, good morning and welcome to the Free to Be show. I'm so happy to have you on my show because I was on your show last year, wasn't it?
You sure were. And I'm so happy and excited to be here with you. And we've talked about this for a while, and I'm glad that we're finally getting to do it. And yes, you were on my show last year, and that was great, great, great. And looking
Yes.
forward to having you back on again soon.
Oh, thank you. I love coming to New York, So, and that's the great thing about your show is like I have to be in studio.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's good fun.
So, for our listeners who are coming in the middle of our conversation, Karen Webster is the attractive mindset strategist, and she's an amazing radio show talk host. And that's just like a teeny tiny bit of who she is. I'm going to let her do justice to herself by, tell us who you are and what you do in the world and how did you come to do that?
Thank you for mentioning what I'm into, what I'm up to. So as a strategist, people often ask me, they're like, well, are you like a coach or what do you do? And I have strategically positioned myself as a strategist. And that's because I help people get from where they are to where they want to be, whether it be in life, in love, in business. Whatever our challenges are, there is an approach, and my approach is a holistic one. So mental, physical, and spiritual all coming together to create the experience that you want to have. Oftentimes, people are approaching their problems one-dimensionally. So they're going to read a book and they're going to take a mental approach, or they're going to pray about it and they're going to take a spiritual approach, or they're going to, just go do something and think that's going to fix it. And the truth is, we need all of these things working together in concert to, oh, wow, New York City.
I know. If you guys didn't believe she's in New York, there's the proof.
New York City. And there's never really sirens on the street. Anyway, so having a holistic approach is really the core of the work that I do, understanding where someone is in their life, what they've been through, and importantly, understanding the energies that they're working with. So I think that's really the part that distinguishes what I do from what a lot of other people are doing is I work with and understand and reveal the energies that an individual came into the world with, what I like to call their birthprint. That includes their name, their date of birth, their place, time, all of these things. And so I do that through retreats. I work with people retreats one-on-one. I'm going to be launching a membership this spring. I'm very excited about to support people in breath work and meditation, which I believe is the foundation for all of the change that we're looking to create in our lives. And I think of the daily practice that we form to support this as the scaffolding that we build around our life to help us make the changes and maintenance that we want to do, just as you would see them put a scaffolding around a building as they're doing all the maintenance, and then they do the big reveal after. It's the same idea. So how do we affect change? And the strategy is to start with a daily practice of consistency that can grow over time.
I love that. And you know what else I love? I'm going to pull this out because you say in love, life, and business. And, to that, a lot of times people, they don't know how to separate what they offer, but you actually have a separate radio show that addresses relationships.
Yeah, so I've actually incorporated that into the Awaken and Arise experience, which is on Saturdays now.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so I did have a separate show on that. But again, to the point, it's all related.
It
So
is.
we talk about physical health, mental health, spiritual health, and relationship health. The day, it all comes down to you, the individual, because that is what is brought to whatever situation or relationship you're in. So the more you know about yourself, the more you can better direct, manage, cultivate your energy, the more effective you can be in your life. And when you are able to gain mental, physical, spiritual alignment, you become very powerful in how you're able to move with purpose in your life. And I did separate them out like
All right. So tell me more about how you came to do the work that you're doing, Karen.
Yeah, so that's like a very interesting story. I've been involved in doing this work and developing into this work over the last 3 to 4 years. Prior to that, I had a 30-year career in fashion, retail, and jewelry. And, like, how did I get from there to here? And I
Yeah.
will say, I know, an interesting journey. On a personal note, though I was involved in the business world and all that entails, on a personal level, I was always on a spiritual seeking journey, asking questions, seeking answers. I was also on a health and wellness journey, really leaning into the natural approach to health and wellness, because I had suffered from chronic sinus infections and was always having to take antibiotics. And I knew instinctively that that was not a good thing. And so thought about how can I keep myself healthy to avoid getting a sinus infection, number one. And number two, if I do get it, how do I treat it naturally? And I was able to do that. Now I never get a sinus infection, which is amazing. And also, my father had a very tough time with his health. He was diabetic. He had chronic heart disease, and I watched him struggle with so many aspects of his health. And it really struck me that we have some choices in how we can live our lives. And for whatever reason, I was motivated to seek answers that would lead me down a path of least resistance when it comes to health, so that I could be in my best and most healthy condition to do what I needed to do. And so 4 years ago, I walked away from my career. I'd like to say I broke up with my career, um, and was at a place in my life. I'm at that point in my early 50s, and just thinking to myself, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And this is a big, big question. And, the safe answer is, well, you already know how to do this. You already know how to make money doing this. And so that becomes the easy answer. Just do what you know, make the money, pay the bills, and be check happy. But I knew for me it was much bigger than that. At points in my career, I had done very well financially, which was great, but that did not equate to peace and happiness in my life. So I already knew that money was not the answer for what I truly was seeking, which is balance and fulfillment, a sense of purpose in how I'm living, feeling good in my body, and purposeful in the world. So I really had to start thinking, and I knew it was going to be something helping people. That was always sort of my inclination. And I said, all right, well, I'm going to pull in this health and wellness piece. And at the same time, I had entered into the online dating world. And my history is I've been married and divorced twice. So I had been I had been divorced now for many years, and thought, okay, I'm going to try this online dating world. Well, that was an entire experience of, oh my, what's going on here? And a lot of thoughts of, I know I'm pretty intelligent. Why is this such a hard thing to grasp? And it's because it exercises some very different muscles. So I went through a whole learning arc with the online dating experience. And I learned a lot. And that is really what helped me start leaning into personal development and ultimately the spiritual journey. And so when it came to, well, what is this business going to look like? It really evolved very naturally. And I feel like I was divinely guided in coming into this space and being able to tap and utilize the experience that I've had in business itself, in starting businesses, running businesses, starting a business, you know, on your own when you're not even sure that you can, and the mindset that requires. So all of these things kind of came together, and I was like, these are the things that people um, ask me about the most. How can you be, happy in the dating world, and feel good in your relationship, and feel good in your body and purposeful in life and start a business. So I pulled all of those things together. And the beauty of it, Cordelia, is that the core of all three of these segments is you. No matter what happens, you're bringing you to your work and your business, you to your relationship, and you to your life. And so whatever's happening in your life is a reflection of what's happening inside. And so when I tell you I feel divinely guided and led into everything, where I live, the radio show, the people that I meet, like you, like everything has really just come together. And I believe that I am walking in my purpose because it feels so good to me to do this work. And one of the things that I just want to call out, and I'm a huge proponent of this, is knowing your energies. And when I took the time to explore my energies objectively, because like many people, they walk in skeptically, well, what is this whole thing about? The day I was born, what does that mean? My name, what does that mean? But I have to tell you that when I took a look at all of it, it resonated with me at such a core level that I could not be in denial. And it literally said that what I'm supposed to be doing, what I'm doing, that was part of my life's work. And I had already come to it before I learned this. So it was confirmation that I was doing what I was supposed to do, that I was headed in the right direction. And I thought to myself, this is so much a part of the puzzle. A huge piece of the puzzle is just knowing and having some clue as to where to look. Because when we look in the world around us and we walk out the door, there's so many influences, so many energies, a lot of them negative, that influence us and help shape and form the way we think and believe and behave. And when we become aware that that is an influence and an energy, and that we can actually choose to control what comes in and out on a certain level, but more importantly, how we respond to what is there. So all of this kind of came together in my experience because I walked through all of these experiences. I walked through everything that I help people with and guide people on is a journey I've walked myself.
And I think that, be, to your point, your last point about energies coming in and we can control the flow, a lot of times we feel like we need to have some kind of certification or proof that we, can help people with stuff, when a lot of times it's really just self-mastery and life experiences. And I really like that you brought up the point also. You got me all choked up. No, seriously, let me get some water. Um, the point about energies, and I know so far I haven't gotten any complaints about this, but people who there are people who feel that if you follow Christianity or Islam or whatever, that these are outside of that, but it's not. Like, energies are what creation is. We're literally like little moving, vibrating energies. And but the way that we manifest in this world, you know you see me with skin and I see you with skin, but like really we don't have skin. So
Yes, because
yeah.
our souls are genderless and colorless. We are energy, and we're all in this soup together. And knowing what you're working with is so important. I'm so glad that you picked up on that point, because we're all unique. We're uniquely perfect. We're not supposed to be the same. And we invest so much energy in trying to be like what we see and the other person, and what that person has is not for you. But when you invest energy in figuring out what is for you, oh wow, now you're powerful. And I like to say, um, anyone that I'm getting ready to do a reading with, and when I do a reading, I do soul contract reading, which is a very deep and powerful process. But I also pull in and respect other modalities, because they all tell and bring in a different slice, a different piece of the pie. So it's really important that people understand that there is a broad spectrum of what can be learned in this process, and that your soul has chosen to come in, and that we are energy. And religions seek to explain much of what we experience, but the experience is the experience. And so when we think about what is spiritual energy, well, it's just that which we can't see. Just like your feelings are not something you can see, they're something you can feel. You can't point to something on a shelf and go, oh, yeah, that's my hatred for something, or that's my love for something. It's not an object, it's an intangible. And we are very directed by our emotions, our feelings, these intangibles. So they're very real and active in our life if we can understand what they are and why they are. Then it becomes very powerful. And the point I was going to make earlier is, when I'm getting ready to do a reading, I paint the picture of, imagine in your home there is a safe, and in this safe is like $1 billion that would enable you to do, be, have, serve in any way you wanted. It's powerful, but you don't have the combination to the safe. You know it's in there. You feel it. You feel like there's more to my life. There's more I want to experience. There's more I feel I'm here to do, but I don't know how. So what is the combination to get into the safe that contains all of your power, all of your gold, all of your who you really are? And that's really the essence of the strategy of how I work with people, is breaking the code, cracking the code, getting the combination to the safe.
I love that. That's a beautiful end to this section. So we're gonna pick it up in a minute and dive more into who you work with and how you work with them specifically. So we'll be right back. We have learned so much this evening listening to Karen and about how we are just energy and tuning into ourselves and what that means as leaders and visionaries in the world. So I hope that you've gained something new and insightful. And as we go into this next part, she dives even deeper, talking about her retreat that she offers. And just tune in for golden nuggets and listen for how we can better heal ourselves. All right, so now we're back with Karen Ann Webster, and we're going to find out more about who she works with.
So, yeah, so many different types of people. And one of the things I've learned is never to prejudge who might benefit or want to work with me. And I do believe that my clients find me and I find them. We find ourselves in each other's presence by some uh, synchronicity and energy that brings us together, and it works. And it's always amazing to me how that flow happens. So I work with corporate executives, I work with moms, I work with people who are just trying to figure out where they're going in life. And, I try to help people who um, really just want change. And I think that's really the bottom line. I am not here to convince or convert anyone into any way of thinking, feeling, or being. Uh, you have to feel the pull within you. And when someone is ready, then we can work together. And I work one-on-one. So I do have a private one-on-one VIP program that is 90 days. And it's just bringing a person, individual in and reading all of their holistic energy from multiple modalities and profiles and learning who they are and listening to what it is their experiences has been and putting all of that into context. So I work with them in that way. I also have a network of holistic practitioners that I work with. So one of the things is I have them do biofield tuning with my very dear friend Anna Baldino, who is amazing in what she does. And the client will go and see her once a month as part of the program. And then Anna and I consult. So I consult with whoever does any service for the client. I consult with them. So I kind of hold all of the knowledge and piece it all together and then help them understand how to interpret and, most importantly, integrate what they've learned and experienced into their daily lives. Because if we're learning but we're not integrating, then what is the point, right? So that was nice to know in the moment, and then nothing. I also work with people who are just sort of curious and learning, and I find a lot of people follow the show in that way. And I'm coming up on the 1 year. This year marks
Congratulations.
1 year of the show, and I'm really, really excited about that. And it has grown in its listenership and viewership because you can also watch it online, and I stream it on Facebook. And bringing in a different guest every week, like you were on last year, and we talked about what you do and how you support people. And so it's really about this holistic approach: mental, physical, spiritual. And I do guided breath and meditation on each show. It's 2 hours. So the first hour, we dive into that. And from there, people kind of gain a level of familiarity to say, oh, I'm ready for more. So I know a lot of people have approached me, through the show to have a reading done or to begin to explore more what's possible in their lives. So as far as who I work with those who are ready and curious and leaning in. Because when we start talking about personal spiritual development, it can get very deep. It can get very deep very quickly, and you have to be ready. And there has to also be a level of trust. So they have to trust that I'm there to support them, and that I have their best interest. I am as invested in my client's success as they are. And so as long as we are both approaching it from that perspective, it's all good. One of the things that I launched last year was a retreat called Holispa, which is a holistic spa experience. And when I say spa, we think of, massages and pampering and all that, which there is an element of that, but it is a spa in a holistic sense. So a mental experience, a physical experience, a spiritual experience. And it was really beautiful. I have a conscious chef come in and prepare food, a plant-based uh, presentation, and understanding more about nutrition and how it affects the body. The entire space is transformed into a high vibrational environment with sound and sight and touch and smell and taste. And everything is very intentionally brought in, and it's designed as an entry point for people who are curious about, well, what is this? How does this work? And we start with breath. We go into meditation. We do movement with yoga therapy. We have a group biofield tuning. We do a wonderful session called Up, Up, and Away, which is done on an infrared chakra mat. And it involves crystals and aromatherapy. And I mean, when you're done with that, you're just. And this year, I'm incorporating elements of body work,
Mm.
and the uh, the spa day will be, or the retreat day, really. There are going to be several. There's going to be a group experience that's about 5 or 6 hours. There's going to be a full VIP day that I do. And then there's going to be an overnight. So I'm developing a 2 to 3 day retreat where I bring in all of my passionate practitioners, and we get this really wonderful, intense one-on-one time with whoever is attending for really deep integration.
Wow. I wanted to come to your first one in November, and I just couldn't work it into my schedule, but it sounds like a real spa day for the intangible parts of us.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It definitely is. And I will say that the people that attended were so, like, they didn't want to go home.
I
When it
could
was,
feel that just from your description. I'd be like,
yeah.
it's probably a good thing I didn't go, because I'd be like, mm. Not
Well,
good.
yeah, and that I know, and that's why we're going to do the overnight, because what I learned was there needed to be much more time for the integration. So the next time that particular segment will be an overnight, so that there will be time to sort of sleep on it, wake up in the next morning, and there's also an energy that's formed in the collective of the group, so that they are able to really connect and explore from a community perspective. And then after the retreat, they are able to stay in the circle, and there's a way for people to continue to engage. And I have memberships that are going to be launching this year that I'm very excited about, that help support people in this holistic journey of how they can be pulling all of these things together, and all the questions that come as a result. Because sometimes people just say, yeah, do this 1 2 3, and then they get out there and they do it and they fall down. They're like, now what? And there's no one to ask. So I'm all about providing the support. And I think that that is one of the most important things we can do, is to help people.
I love what you said, because that's what I call leaving people hanging. I, you know, I, I don't think it's intentional, but I think that sometimes people that are light workers, we know the
Mm.
transformation that comes, right? So we're kind of thinking, oh, and they'll experience this and then they'll be there, right? But we don't, we have to remember who we were before we were light workers. And we needed someone to a little bit hold us and guide us and help us to keep implementing. So I love that you don't keep us hanging or leave us hanging after the
Yeah.
experience. So we'll,
Yeah, because yeah, once people crack open, you have to be there to, you know, help them. Yeah.
so will these be happening? The overnight ones will be happening also in New York City.
The overnight ones will be happening upstate,
Okay.
and there are also some other locations that I'll be looking at on the East Coast, and potentially Sedona. So yeah, I
Wait, let me
know.
not do a jig, but I love Sedona.
I know, me too. I was just there and really connected with some great spirits while I was there. And I really want to do something there. If we do one there, it'll be like 3 days of really being able to dive in. I mean, it was just so amazing. But the overnights will definitely be in a rural location of quiet and peace to allow for the integration. The day ones are sort of like the intro, the starters. We'll be doing a day retreat where everybody gets to sample and experience and then say, I want more. And these are the types of experiences that we should be having on a regular basis. Either we're going somewhere and participating, or we're creating that within our own space. And that's really what this is about. I just want people to understand what is required for them to be able to build their power from the inside out and grow, and then how to maintain that over time. So, so important.
Yeah, and as I'm listening to you, I know you didn't specifically say this. You said people that are going through a change are the people you work with, but I would even add to that list maybe people who are change makers, right? Because
Oh,
to
yeah.
some extent, right, as a leader with a really big vision, this is the kind of experience you need to help you stay that course, because it's lonely when you're doing those things, when you're doing the
Yes.
work.
Absolutely. And to that point, I do work with another organization called TIR Global, where we bring this type of support into a corporation and be able to support the C-suite executives as well. And I've worked with business people, leaders, entrepreneurs who are looking for that next level. And I love when people just lean in and they know and they instinctively understand, hey, I'm trying to get from here to here. How am I going to do that? What do I need in order to make that happen? And when there is an awareness that there is something, then they can be open to receiving it. And that work is very powerful, very powerful.
Yeah, actually, this past year in 2019, I don't know if it's like an ego thing or what. I mean, like, as I'm not the only one this has happened to, but I was like, oh, I do transformation work. I don't need a coach for that area. And I was just like, I found myself, I think it was in between me coming to New York in April and in June, where I was like, what is happening? I need some help in this area. And
Hmm.
actually I got a transformation coach to help me with my soul processing, or I can't remember what she calls it, she does. And I was like, ooh, you know what? We're gonna sign up for one of these every year, because
You're absolutely right. I mean, that's such a good point, particularly for anyone listening who is serving people. You cannot serve from an empty cup, number one. And number two, when you reach your point of mastery for whatever you've accomplished and you're ready for that next level, we don't know what we don't know. So, seeking that support is so very important. Where, people have often asked me, well, where do you go? And, it can be very challenging to find the right, and I want to emphasize this, find the right person who you resonate with energetically, that you feel can take you and help guide you to that next phase of opening and evolution. But you always have to be open and leaning into it. But we're all human and we all need help. Even if we're out here doing this work, that doesn't mean there's nowhere else to go with it. There's always somewhere to go with it. There's always more.
100%. So, yeah, I think you truly do have me choked up. It's not the water.
You need to come to the next retreat. That's what's happening.
I know. That's what's happening. I'm feeling that strongly. So,
Yeah.
anyway, thank you so much for that. We're going to come back in this last piece and talk more about how people can connect directly with you and benefit from all the things that you offer. All right. And so we are back for just a few more minutes. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this is ending. Um, but anyway, so Karen, how can people connect with you and work directly with you?
Cordelia, first, I want to thank you so much for having me on and having this wonderful conversation with you. I always love spending time with you. We just need to do it more often.
Thank you.
And this has been wonderful. People can connect with me best through Instagram and Facebook. On Instagram, it is at Attractive Mindset Strategist. And there are posts on my upcoming shows and the guests that I'll be having. And there is a link in the bio to my link tree that you can use to access information and request a soul contract reading. You can get links to past shows so you can hear some of the past interviews that I've done, as well as any upcoming new events, retreats in particular, and membership opportunities will be coming up. And on Facebook, it is The Attractive Mindset for Life, Love, and Business, or at Attractive Mindset Strategist. And they're also the very same thing, expanding on that. And on Facebook, sharing a little bit more information. I did earlier this year a guided meditation on New Year's Eve. So that was, we meditated into celebration, meditate to celebrate. So that was a lot of fun. And I'll be posting things for meditations and other sessions that are coming up.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw a bit of that. I didn't participate in the whole thing, sadly, but the great thing is the recording is there, so I can always do it again. So
the recording is definitely there. And people can also email me at attractivemindset at gmail.com, theattractivemindset@gmail.com. Or they can text at 347-688-8074 for more information or to speak with me directly.
awesome. And this has been so delightful and so wonderful. And I'm definitely attending your retreat, especially if it's, and I'm not like trying to push you one way or the other, but if it happens to be in Sedona, like
You're there. You're there. Okay. Got it. All right. I've got your name at the top of the list.
thank you. So anyone's
Thank you so much.
absolutely. Yeah. And I was just gonna say, if you haven't met me personally, that would be a place to meet me, is at Karen's retreat. So
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I love bringing all these like-minded souls together. It's beautiful.
yay. So thank you so much for being on the Free to Be show and for bringing your light to the world.
Thank you so much, Cordelia. I love you. I
Mwah.
appreciate you. Mwah.
All right. And good night.
Good night.
So, the purpose of the show really is to give you tools and tips to go on that journey of being free to be yourself. Anything that you enjoyed or you found beneficial, make note of it. Start implementing it. See what it actually feels like to do that. And reach out to me and let me know how you come along with that. Most importantly, if it works for you, it's going to work for somebody else. So remember, sharing is caring. Good night.